Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. This is a far bigger crowd than we were expecting on the fourth day of a Congress after a gala like the one we had. Congratulations for being here. I think from what we've heard, we've had a great Congress.
Yeah.
And at the end of each Congress, not all Congresses, but some of them, we reflect on what do we leave behind. And we try and create a legacy project. And to leave something lasting for people. And so, if I can get this to work. Not moving forward.
You have to point it somewhere.
No, you don't have to point it anywhere. The reason us co-chairs made a great team is that I think of things, but my techie partner implements things. How do I get this to move? Now it's working? Ah, okay. So legacy projects are creative endeavors with the intention to leave something meaningful to those who come after us. And looking at this few years ago, I found that when you looked at social media, you found articles like this, "The Last of the Zoroastrians," or 2 decades from now, Pakistan will have no Parsis. And that got us thinking. And here's the article that actually caught our attention. That in more than 50 of the 80 towns in the country where Parsis once lived, the Anjumans or associations are defunct. And that is a scary proposition. Who is capturing that history? Who is going to read about it when that happens? I was talking to Rusi Dalal yesterday, and he pointed out he's from Zanzibar, and the last Zoroastrian in Zanzibar was buried some time back. No one is left. Who is going to capture that history, and how are we going to do it? So, this thing is, what we did was, we did an initial survey. We put together a survey on the website, and the intention was to contact every community in the entire world, every Zoroastrian community in the entire world, no matter how small or big it is, have them write a brief history of their community, whatever they remembered or whatever was archived. When did the first Zoroastrians arrive? How many were there? Where did they come from? What kind of occupations did they have? At its height, how many people were there? What kind of associations did they have? What is the current status, etc. And with that, to consider photographing every existing Zoroastrian structure. So whether it was, so the first is statistics. Whatever statistics they had overall, to capture that. And, sorry, I'm having great, okay, so the history of the community, then buildings or structures. Is there another one? Okay, so different associations. We have our different associations within the community, so we ask them to provide us information on that. Buildings such as agyaris, buildings such as, and also new agyaris. Remember, this survey is going to be current, so we have our new agyaris, dharamsalas, housing that we provide, burial grounds, schools, A lot of Parsi communities have built schools, hospitals, hotels, businesses, hospitals, small businesses. Oh, he kept.
Yeah. It's not the little, it's this big one, this goes.
Okay, okay. Got it. Got my tech expertise. Statues. We got Zoroastrian statues all over the place. And of course, we have street signs. So if you get the idea, it was capture any physical structure and with it give us the history of that structure. Who built it, which year, who was responsible, who did the funding, etc. And then we found something as the process went through. We got information on data, we looked at the information, and then we found out, wait a minute, we are missing the big picture. Because there's a wealth of information on social media. And printed media, we have our FPZAI magazine, we have other magazines. What happens to that 10 years from now, 15 years from now? Who's going to hunt and find that information? Social media, we have great websites. Arizan has his Parsi Khabar. But what's going to happen to that information 50 years from now? Arizan might plan to live that long, but at some point that information may not be there. Or Yazdi Tantra Zoroastrian.net, the same question, what happens to that information? And social media, we found there's such a wealth of information, amazing articles, but the thing about social media is it doesn't stay on social media, it after a while disappears. You see a fantastic article and you say, oh, that was great, let me go and find it. And you're looking at it 2 months later and you don't find it. So it's really important for us to capture that. At this point, of course, we need a great tech team. I had the great opportunity of knowing Homi Baramji for ages and brought him into the loop. And luckily, he's very excited about the project. So I'll pass on the next steps to Homi. Homi, welcome.
I see. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Astad. That was a perfect introduction. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you all for being here. Last day of the conference, early in the morning after a great event last night. You are amongst the most committed Zoroastrians, and I applaud you for it. So as Astad highlighted, Zoroastrian Footprints Worldwide will collect information on all things Zoroastrian, from religious and scholarly works, history, monuments, people, art, culture, food, news, events, and even jokes, my favorite. It needs to cover what has happened, because we need to connect to our roots, and what is happening in our motherlands and in the diaspora, so it needs to be worldwide. And today's events is tomorrow's history, and so we should preserve that. And since Zoroastrians, past, present, and future, speak different languages, it needs to be multilingual. On Friday, Dr. Reshma Ryder said something profound. She said, language is an identity marker, and exhorted us to learn Dari, which is the language used by Zoroastrians in Yazd and other parts of Iran. All this information collected will be made more interesting and useful by linking it to relevant information. For example, if someone searched on Dansak, one could get information on what it is, the traditions related to it, recipes for it, YouTube videos on how to cook it, restaurants near you that serve it, and whatever else is relevant. And we will ensure that this information will be saved for posterity. People come and go, but as institutions last longer, and hopefully this will be something that will last forever. Unfortunately, we have already lost valuable information. As I browse the web, I come across many links to websites that are no longer functional. And if we did all this, wouldn't it be totally aligned with the theme of this Congress, which is bridging the global Zarathustri existence? So searching the web, anyone can see that there is a lot of excellent information available on a wide range of Zoroastrian topics. And this information trove is growing every day, which is fantastic. But despite this wealth of information, there are gaps in the information available. As Astad pointed out, there are many places where Zoroastrian populations have declined to the point where Anjumans are no longer active. And there are many new locations or smaller locations where they never existed. So we will have this outreach program that Astad referred to try and collect information on things that might be overlooked. And also, the system will have the ability for people to contribute any information that they would like to contribute. So people contributing information, don't overlook it. Not only can they contribute new information, but they can also edit and expound on information already provided, like you can do on Wikipedia. They can comment on it and share their personal experiences, like you can do on Facebook, and constantly enrich the information. Just yesterday, I met a gentleman who said, I have boxes and boxes of information that's really valuable, and I don't know what's going to happen to it when I pass away. I met another young gentleman who said, we have tapes of my grandmother talking about her life. I would love to make that available to people. And today you have the technology to take a voice recording and convert it to text and link the two together and do all kinds of cool stuff. Why would you want to transform it to text? Well, you can then identify the people and places and link them to other information on them. Okay. So perhaps we can digitize it. And there is another category of information that I believe is really worth collecting and preserving. We all get forwarded messages with anecdotes and tributes to inspiring Zoroastrians, articles acknowledging the contributions of Zoroastrians individually and collectively, articles about Zoroastrian businesses, jokes, New Year's wishes with incredible art. I love these messages, and I forward many of them along. But what happens to this information? Is it like a shooting star that just burns brightly for a minute and disappears and is forgotten? I think that these two are worth preserving and making available more widely. It is worth mentioning that sometimes it's hard to find exactly what you're looking for because there's so much information around. Zoroastrian Footprints Worldwide will provide an advanced search capability so you can find the information that you want and filter out the information that's not of interest to you. So it is clear that there is a real need to aggregate, integrate, enrich, and preserve this content. And by doing so, it will become a wonderful resource for all Zoroastrians today and for all future generations to come. So I want to be clear that it is not our goal to replace other sites such as Facebook, YouTube, Wikipedia, and the many Zoroastrian websites. However, we plan to legally copy or link to and integrate this information with other information that's directly contributed to us. Again, I need to stress that this information that we aggregate and integrate will only be done with the permission of the organizations or people that own the rights to this information. We're not going to steal anybody's information. No one will be forced to share or contribute information or have their websites linked if they don't want to have them linked. Furthermore, all information will be accompanied by attribution to the source and a link back to it. By sharing information with Zoroastrian footprints worldwide, websites can get more exposure to their content, and the link backs may increase traffic to their source and to its benefit. So I had the great good fortune to work with a brilliant software developer by the name of Kevin Baresi. He had the incredible ability to develop cutting-edge, very sophisticated applications really quickly and very, very cost-effectively. It was a real eye-opener to see how he used public domain tools and artificial intelligence to extract information from laws and regulations and categorize them to make lawyers more efficient. Many of the capabilities that Kevin had built for lawyers were similar to capabilities that we would need to build this site. I approached Kevin and was absolutely delighted when he readily agreed to help us implement this vision. Kevin is not with us here today, but he was here for the banquet last night, and he and his fiancée had a wonderful time. They were very impressed. The first step in adding value to information is to use artificial intelligence to read the information and uniquely identify each person, place, topic, event, religious or cultural practice, food, etc., so that it can be linked to similar articles and related entities. Here is an example, simple example, of how we can add value to an article about a fire temple. The computer would read the article, identify the subject as a building of the type fire temple, the city it is in, the priests that practice there now and in the past, and the benefactors of this fire temple. The system would then link that article to other stories, pictures, and videos of the fire temple, link each priest to other information about him, same with the benefactor and anything else referred to in the article. Consequently, one can get all the information on that fire temple, text, pictures, videos from all sources in one place, including stories that people might have had of their own personal experiences of going there and growing up near there. Links to all the other fire temples in the city, links to all the information on each priest that served there, and a complete picture of them, their profiles, their teachings, their writings, their career, links to benefactors. I noticed when the priests were speaking, they always talked about, I was trained in this place by this person. We can now collect that, right? Recognize the benefactors of fire temples, their profiles, business careers, notable achievements, and other charitable contributions, etc. So how will all this be accomplished? Next, we investigated whether it was practical and possible, because it's a big dream, to develop it, and what would it cost? So we created a specification of what this site should be capable of doing, and Kevin created a prototype to determine its feasibility. Using open source software and Amazon Web Services, Kevin was able to show that we could build a robust capability relatively quickly and very cost effectively. This slide simply illustrates some of the software and capabilities we've validated in this proof of concept. These modern open source software tools are a real boon. They are sophisticated, they're powerful, and they're now available for free. Similar systems would have cost tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars just 10 years ago. It is our intent that this software will be developed and operated by volunteers. And only if we need something very sophisticated or specialized would we look to outsource it or retain a professional developer for a specific task on a contract basis. This is a huge endeavor. Just like this amazing World Zoroastrian Congress was achieved by the combined collaborative effort of many, many volunteers, the Zoroastrian Footprints Worldwide Initiative will need a lot of you to engage to make it a reality. We will need volunteers from all around the world, speaking different languages, having different expertise on religion or culture or food or art or whatever else. Working on this project has been a wonderful experience for me. I have learned a lot, and each new thing I learn makes me feel closer to our religion, closer to our community, and increases my pride in being a Zoroastrian. Please join us and become part of this exciting journey. I promise that you will find it interesting, enlightening, rewarding, and a lot of fun. I will now turn the mic back to Astad, and so he can discuss next steps. Thank you very much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, this is a tremendously ambitious project. But as you have seen, we in New York do not do small things. However, and legacy is the right word. The idea here is to keep this in perpetuity. So as technology changes, we'll keep ahead with it so that this information remains perpetual. Now, what we need is a good team. We realize that when you start a project like this, you have a vision, you have an idea, you think you've thought of everything, and very soon after you start, you realize, wait a minute, there's much more and can grow. So our initial first job is to create a core team of intellectuals, educators, to decide exactly what it is that is worth capturing and retaining and what may be superfluous. And we will be establishing that team. Any of you over here who are interested, do let us know by email, either Homi or myself. And I know you're not going to copy this, but just ask around on that. Our last, we'll come to that. Did I skip our contact information? Okay. And we want to start as soon as possible. As Homi indicated, this information is disappearing as we speak. Literally, and I've experienced this myself in formulating this project in my mind over the last few years. I've seen interesting articles, and when I try to find them again, it's impossible to find. We need to retain this information. So spread the word around, and we hope to have a good beginning. And any questions, we are short of time. We'll just take a couple of questions, please. One over here. Oops, sorry, I didn't plan. Check.
Hello. Great effort and great work. My question is, if you are going to link your website to a link that is already in other websites, if that link gets disappeared, yours would be the same. So I think that's not a solution. Maybe you want to download it first and then make the link. That was my question. So if you make a link to another website, you're already talking about the links might not work after a while. So what is your solution on that?
Did you hear the question? Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't hear the question exactly, but I guess it's something about why are we linking to other websites and what are we going to do about that?
If the link gets disappeared after a while, what are you going to do about it? If when you link it to another website.
Did you hear that? Right. So you see, a link can get broken at any time for any number of reasons. It could be a technical reason. It could be the website is no longer active. It could be many things. So in my vision, we would copy and retain all this information. If the website goes away, we would have a copy of it. And, but we would link back because we want to give them full attribution. We want to expose them, and we want to give them the maximum opportunity possible as well, and we don't want to steal anybody's IP. However, on our website, that website may not have an ability for people to share their own experiences or comment on that particular information. On our website, they'd be able to do that as well, so it would enrich it, but it would also have the link backs, and it would also have a copy in case that website ever went out of service.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Before the Zoroastrians started moving to the big cities, for thousands of years, we were all farmers. There are thousands and thousands of acres around Gujarat and those areas that are being lost because the children aren't taking up farming. That may be another aspect you want to try and capture as to all the acreages that are sitting around being lost.
Awesome.
That's precisely why we started the project. We have spoken to contacts in India, we've spoken to Dinsha Tamboli, etc. They're all on board with it. And that's the information we need to capture. The idea was to contact every community, no matter how large or small, even if there are 10 families there. There's another element to this project. It's areas where there used to be Zoroastrians and are no longer there. Areas in Yemen, Aden, China, and there we're going to contact whoever has information. It doesn't have to be a Zoroastrian who has the information, but that's where social media comes in very useful also.
I would just like to add that this is why this is a worldwide Zoroastrian project. It's people like you that have these ideas or insights that can create a new entry on the system, just like you can on Wikipedia, and talk about this, and then allow for other people to add pictures, to add commentary, to add links, to volunteer to do something, etc. So it's going to be a living thing, and it's going to keep expanding that way. Just yesterday, that young gentleman I met was telling me, do you know that there's a Parsi cemetery in Srinagar? And there are no Parsis left there. Nobody knows about this thing, right? So that's a great example how people in the community can keep just adding information into the system, because we're not going to do it centrally. We're going to provide tools for everybody to participate.
Can I ask my question? Next question here?
Yes, we are short of time, so this will be the last question.
Okay, here, right here.
But you know Homi and you know me, and we can spend a couple of hours when we're at Persis's house. You got it. Sorry.
Hi, Asad. My question is for this project. We use the words Zoroastrian and Parsism interchangeably, and that confused the hell from the Zoroastrians from Iran and other parts of the world. So I think you answered part of my question. What are we trying to save? The legacy of Zoroastrianism or the legacy of Parsism? That's two different things. Again, with my respects to all the Parsi friends, Zoroastrianism is a wider community all across the world. So let's remind ourselves here. One comment on before I get to my question, one comment on the opening ceremony. I heard that someone said we don't have a home. We do have a home. Our home is the birthplace of Cyrus Grace's Human Rights Declaration. Our home is the birthplace of Zarathustra. Our home is the place where Persepolis was built. So
excuse me, sir. Sorry to interrupt. We're short on time.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you the question. I'm going to ask the question.
But can you come straight to the question, please?
Yeah, I'm going to come. It seems you don't like my comment here, but that's fine. My question is this. We have vast knowledge of, vast amount of information on Zoroastrianism in Persian, done by Iranian scholars. some of them who devoted the whole life to this, Dr. Ali Akbar Jafari, Ustad Pur Dawood, and there are a few other scholars who gave their life to preserve Zoroastrian history.
I think I understand the question.
So my question is, would you be able to translate their text in English, save their information, and pass on this legacy to generations to come to know their true identity?
You are very well summarizing exactly what we hope to do.
Okay.
We started off by saying every Zoroastrian community in the world. Of course, it includes Persia and Iran. How could it not?
Okay, good. That's fine.
And yes, there is a translation component also. So the idea is to preserve all the information. But natural, we're going to start in Iran.
Good.
Everyone, thank you. I'll be available for further questions.
I offer my help to you.
Any
connection to the Iranian community, I offer my help to you. And I'm willing to help you.
I'm coming right now to get your name and contact
information. I give you
a hug. Thank you.
Thank you for volunteering.
All right. Everyone, thank you very much.